And there we go. Hey, all right. So today is the member update. I got a few friendly, unfamiliar, maybe familiar folks in the room. I'm not going to put too much attention to you guys, Paul and Mike. Paul and Mike are just kind of, I met them from the Elderberry group. They do something similar to I do, and it's pretty interesting, guys. I'm just going to give, if you guys don't mind, one of you take a chance, take a stab at just giving a quick little introduction to Think Forces, and I'll let you guys pick and choose.
Mike, you want to go?
Sure.
I love that.
I just
It's called throwing under the bus. I mean, the Think Forces. We've been in business for about 18 months now, and it consists of Paul and myself. We're from the financial services industry, and we focus on digital transformation and go-to-market strategies. Target audiences, credit unions. And essentially what we do, we're not technologists. Essentially, we're business people who have got a lot of experience in the banking and insurance side. Paul's got some in the telecom side of things as well. And we target smaller companies that need some help with digital transformation. And as I said, we're not technologists. We partner with technologists, but we bring the strategy to bear in helping that transformation take place, and if it's a new product, to bring it to market. And essentially, it's everything that impacts the rest of the company when a new piece of technology is introduced. And the focus, by and large, these days is on AI. Everyone wants some, not necessarily know how to use it. And we help. Is there training that's needed? Is it HR that's needed? Operations, how does it impact that? All the surrounding elements in there. And so that's our primary offering, digital transformation and go-to-market strategy. Paul?
Excellent. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
I'll just add a little bit to it. Like another thing is advisory services. So anything with financial services and technology, we get involved. So anything on building a corporate strategy, go-to-market, and branding. So, and as Mike mentioned, our target audience are financial services, both US and Canada. And we do have a partnership with DataIQ, Medallia, and eBank and IT. So looking forward to anybody wants to know more. Happy to connect and have a quick chat. And Kim and you and I will connect because we need some help on our website. So.
And Martha just came off camera, but I mentioned Martha and Dorothy to you guys in a just out of casual talk. Martha is a branding person I gave you an example of. Dorothy's a friend that I did. I was just sharing how sometimes we collaborate on projects, and I was just sharing that RFP example that we wrote together just came out. So just put some names to faces and stuff like that, and then one that. So we're doing member updates today. We meet twice a month. The first one's sector updates. This one's member. This is more about what's going on with you in your world. What could be good news, could be bad news, and it could be really small news. It doesn't have to be something mammoth. It's just like, think about your water cooler stuff. Like as we tend to get buried in project work or buried looking for project work, we kind of miss out on those conversations that kind of help us grow and help us feel like we're a part of something bigger, right? Which we are. So I'm going to share one. So this is one. So this is not going to be definitely not new for Kim. Definitely not new for Christina, but it was new for me. Even though I knew about this kind of stuff, it was just baffling how it works. So I've shared this. I've been consistently posting once a week, regardless of how crazy my weeks go. And so there's been some late weekend posts, late Friday night posts, but every Friday I try to push a little time aside, write a little something. And I've also shared that I've been using Google Notebook. I use Google Workspace. I use Google Notebook, kind of mash all my pages in there, stuff I read, stuff I write, everything. It's a collection of stuff. And the nice thing about Notebook, it looks into your own stuff. Well, I added Gem, and this is not new. I think I shared this on top of that. What Gem is, it has the ability to gather a bunch of these notebooks together. So it's like Notebook, you can throw 300 sources in, but you can only look within that notebook. Gem allows you to look amongst the notebooks. So think about it. If you're a branding company, writing for a company, you put your brand guide and everything about your company in one notebook, and then topic by topic in the other notebook. And then you can have Gem help you with it. So I came, as I do every week, at the end of the week, I'm drained. And like, what do I write about? And Kim, you got to close your ears for this. So I'm just speaking from transparently here, but I always go, hey, I'm a little drained. Hey, Google, hey, Gemini, let's brainstorm on the next Insights article, right? And it's been really good for me. I've spent a lot of time putting content in my site, working on my positioning. So what it was doing is just looking for gaps where I've said I've had services and what I've written about, and here's what you're missing. And it was really good at that until it wasn't, because, okay, I've covered everything. Well, I covered everything from the notebook perspective, right? So then I'm like, okay, whatever suggestions were coming up were dog death. And I was thinking about Dorothy in the background, like, oh, she's going to call this AI slop if I post this. I got to be really careful here. Look at who my audience might be. And so I started thinking about stories, and I was just visiting my dad, as some of us are older, we have older fathers, and I wrote a story about it without going. You guys can look at the post without getting into the details, right? Thinking nothing of it, and I think, I've heard a lot of people say you put a photo on there and it'll change the viewing habit. I'm like, okay, it's my dad. Should I really put my dad's photo on there? The worst part about it is my dad's got a full head of hair, and he's 84, which is really probably the first thing I thought about before I noticed. It's like, nobody's gonna believe this is my father. Like, look at me, right? So I said, okay, I put it, it's a nice photo and stuff. It's a story about him. And I was saying, I've been enjoying, even though I don't get a lot of feedback or action on my posts in LinkedIn, I still notice, analytics, it's far below the what everybody else does, but it's still, every Friday when I post, there's a spike, and there's, growth. I post on my Google Business, post on LinkedIn, post on my site, and I can see that it's working. So it's like that momentum's going there. And I would get like, and this is Eric, this is going to be way below anything you guys have posted or anything like that. But I would get like 100 or 200 impressions per post, right? And I tried playing with it, during the week, and I said, it didn't really seem to matter, right? So I just do it when I'm finished or when I get to it, right? So this one, it was, it's been particularly busy at work. I gotta stop saying names. My main client has laid off some work, so things are just grinding for all those that are remaining. So it's a lot of work. So working crazy hours. So by the time I finally posted this guy, it was late Friday evening. I almost waited till Saturday, but I wanted to have a good weekend, so I didn't do it. Posted it, and in no time whatsoever, this thing just started getting traction, getting follows. Not a lot of comments, just follows. By today, I looked at it, 54,000 impressions, and that's like I posted it Friday. So from 100 to 200 so I'm like, oh my God, what Kim and these other writer people say actually is true. They're not just saying stuff, right? Like if you actually put a story together and have some kind of background in there, and I don't know whether the photo, like I think the two kind of combined together, kind of work together. But it was just like, that's my update. I was just like, okay, guys, you don't have to, I believe you now. I seen it working. If I can ever recreate it again, we'll see. But it was interesting. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. So you said you went from 100 to 54,000 from Friday to today. Is that what it was? I heard.
I used to get 100 to 200, and that could be after the post had been up for a week or two.
Yeah.
Like I don't get a tremendous amount of that activity in my posts. They're business related. Like not everybody wants to hear about digital transformation, right? But this one I just connected around my dad. I put,
you put a picture in there, which we do, right?
I put a picture in there. It was like the challenging thing is a lot of people from.
I have for you. Did you do any like a hashtag or anything like that, or you just?
I did not. And usually get Gemini or LinkedIn to write my.
I know.
Okay, sorry, Cam. I usually get LinkedIn or Gemini to write it for me, and then I rewrite it because usually, But this one, they wrote something. I was like, oh, that's garbage. I tried LinkedIn. Sorry, I use Grammarly. I tried that. Was not very good. I tried Gem. Wasn't good. So I just wrote my own, and it did better. Surprise.
We post, Mike and I post quite a bit every week on LinkedIn 3 times, and it's more business related, and we get close to 1,000 to around 500 to 1,000. But I like your idea. Maybe you just change it to personal now, and related.
I'm gonna let the writers chime in on that one for why that might work or not. But I was just really surprised. Like I was surprised right away when it got to what your level you normally get, Paul, 1,500, because I don't even get that, right?
Yeah.
But then it just kept going, and this is over the weekend, right? I was like, what the heck? Anyhow,
I had the
go ahead,
same experience, Richard. I did one when my daughter graduated last.
Oh, I remember seeing that. See, I remember seeing that one.
It was just a recognition. I didn't put a picture of her. She'd kill me if I did, but it was just a recognition of that generation. And I said, you know what? They're coming out in the worst job market in 30 years, but we need their resilience. We need what they bring, and we're here for them. And just a thoughtful thing. It got like 45,000 impressions, right? And it was because it's just something people could relate to. I wasn't pitching anything. I was just sharing one moment, So
100%. I actually remember that, which and I've seen you've got a lot of good posts, but I remember that probably because of the connection. My son is 22, trying to figure out go to masters or go into the market. So sorry, Marta, I'm talking over you. Let me get you into this conversation.
No, you're not talking over me, not at all.
Not talking and seeing your hand up.
No, I just wanted to make a comment about, I don't think you need to feel bad that you're using AI. And I say that because I use it, and I may not be using it to do my designing for me, but I'm using it in any way possible that the tool makes sense for me. And I don't think it disqualifies the professionals that are doing what you can go to, it doesn't disqualify Kim, it doesn't disqualify Dorothy or whoever else wants to, be able to write because they are writers and they can do that well. It doesn't disqualify them at all. I think it's a kickstarting tool. And like I said, we're all are using them. And if you're not using an AI tool, your clients are going to start asking you, why not?
Yeah.
They ask me,
you got to be at least native, right? Yeah. Show them you understand.
So I just wanted to say, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I think you have to be transparent, and you have to say, I use it because I feel comfortable doing it for this extent, but I don't use it to the nth degree, or I don't use it from the starting to the finish line. And here's the reasons why as well. So I think we have to be really, I had a comment, I'll finish by saying this from a client. We're fairly new to each other, which is great because, it's that honeymoon period of everybody's excited to work together. And so I was helping him submit for a government grant. Now, anybody who knows me, I'm a branding designer. I don't usually help my clients submit for grants, but he really needed help. He really wanted me to just come on board and help him do this thing. And I said, okay, I think I can do this with you. Why? Because I'm going to use the power of AI. And I told him that transparently, and he was just gung-ho. He said, I love it. You're swimming in it. And I was like, am I drowning? What does he mean? I wasn't sure at first. But you know what? We worked it out, and it was a lot of work. I'm not going to pretend it's not. But it helped us so much, that tool. And we're closer to the finish line for using the tool in the beginning. So just my 2 cents about use it. Don't feel so bad. Don't use it all the time.
Dorothy, I'm coming back to you about your post today because I read that and you made me think a little bit, but I want to come back to you. So Kim, go ahead. I saw that go right up as soon as we started talking there. So we've got to let Kim have her chat.
No, so I just wanted to say, as a writer, at first when AI first came out a few years ago, I was scared. I thought I was going to completely lose my job. But now, I use it strategically, and there's days when I am completely stuck on writing, but I don't use it to just put in a prompt and then use it. It's using it strategically, and I've trained my prompts to use my voice. And so there's days when I know I need to post on social, and it's just my brain just can't get the words together, so I'll use it. But what it won't do is it won't tell the stories. I sent out a newsletter this morning, and I decided to put in a really personal story about how I love line dancing. I haven't done that in my business content before, but I normally, when I send out a newsletter, I don't get emails back. I don't get feedback. I've had a handful of emails this morning just saying, thank you for sharing that. And so now I know that people want to actually see that storytelling. So stay tuned. Who knows what else I'm going to be adding in there, but it does show that personal touch really does. People are looking for that.
I have to admit, I saw another side. Oh, okay. I saw another side of you, and it just made it that much more authentic, right? So it did work. Go ahead, Jody.
So my question is not about AI. I want to know if you helped your dad make sure that his insurance paperwork was updated.
Oh man, Double whammy, double whammy. You know,
Come
I was
on,
thinking,
Rich. You shared
I
this
was
information
thinking,
and you knew better.
I was thinking about you the whole time I was doing this. Like, damn it, Jody cannot find out about this at all. Man, I am going to get an earful. I did help my dad. I did, and like everything about what I was going through is like exactly what you cover, and the topics you cover, and it screams because my dad, like your dad, had his own his own business, very smart, still like sharp as a tack most times. I say 9 times out of 10, it's the one time out of 10 that gets kind of scary. And he's out by himself in Owen Sound, 2 hours away. I'm the closest relative. But yeah, there is like if you guys have parents, we all have parents the same, if they haven't passed already. Like Jody's got a rock solid concept there, even for yourself, that you have to do. Actually, Jody, you inspired me to do the willful thing. I was just too cheap to go and pay you for it. Okay, terrible, but yeah, but no, it was like, I mean, I still learned a lot, so I think it's worthwhile definitely doing that. So I appreciate that, and I did help him out. I've been into the weeds, figuring it out myself. It's as my friends are telling me, these are two things when we go golfing. We talk about our kids and we talk about our parents, and I learn a lot from both whenever I go golfing with them. So
Nice.
Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just your comment about AI, and I think Kim said, you know, like there's an entry point for everybody. Someone gave me advice once, and I like to use it because I'm not a professional writer, nor am I a professional AI guy, but I just start with what I'm trying to write and then pump it through a couple of AI engines. I'll use Gemini or ChatGPT, and then it just cleans it up, and I'll do the prompts, and I'm getting better at prompts, and then I finally edit it so it's absolutely in my own voice, right?
That's the same. Yeah, same.
It's like I'm using I'm using technology the way technology is meant to be used, and there shouldn't be any fear of anybody, you know, using it in the way that helps them, right? But I love these kind of conversations because you learn about how people are leveraging it in different ways and still trying to be authentic. That's where I try to get to, remain authentic, but cut down on the time it takes, right? So
100%. Dorothy, so the post I was talking about is about your niece and your daughter. I think it was your niece and your daughter. So that's my recollection anyhow, right? And I'm seeing the same. So I'll let Dory tell the whole story, but it was expressing why some groups are challenged by AI, and it's good rationale behind that. And I'm seeing that at work as well. Like I have a coworker that I work with that I'm trying to, great writer, trying to encourage her to adopt it because the work is tracking how active you are within AI, and because they're expecting huge production gains from it. And it's a tech company, right? So you want to make sure everybody's on the forefront using it. But there is a lot of fear. I mean, it's not an unknown topic, right? It's everywhere, right? It's pervasive. So go ahead, Dory. Finish my thoughts. So tell us about your post and what you learned. Oh, you're muted, so I caught you there. Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. The post was about, I saw this article on LinkedIn and it piqued my curiosity about how some Gen Z workers are sabotaging their companies by either flat out not using AI, opting out of training, putting in bad data. And it got me thinking because I am around the discussion. So my daughter is on the cusp of moving from zillennial into millennial. I have a niece. She's not using it. She's a nurse, by the way. But I have people who are in the college system, and there are some students who are adamant against using it. I had a conversation with a young woman recently, and I wrote about her. She didn't want to use it until we spoke. And what the data shows you, and there was a survey that was done across the UK, Europe, and US, around 2,400 employees. And the Gen Z, 44% of Gen Z are actively sabotaging the work. So we're conflicted now because the truth is, based on that report, and what we're seeing is that people are not using AI or are not adopting it in the workplace are going to be at on the chopping block. That's what the report is saying. So you have Gen Z who are saying, we don't want to use it because they're threatened. The jobs are already threatened. They're at a place where AI is threatening their jobs. So it's almost like a reaction. And I'm saying maybe if I was in that Gen Z position, this is how I would feel. But On the other hand, if you're not using it, if you're coming into the workplace not using it, you're already at a deficit. And so my daughter, she came around because she was adamant. She has a degree in creative writing. She has a journalism diploma, so she has written. And she has resisted it until I showed her, I say, here, as to your point, Richard, here are the productivity gains. So that's a conversation that we're going to be having with our kids or those who work for us. You know, at the end of the day, I feel that the way the world is going is that you have to adopt AI. You just have to. And I think it's sad that people are using it, employers are using it to really cut people under the guise of saving cost. But you know what? This is where we are, and we have to make a choice.
I'm going to share, I listened to a podcast, it was a Globe and Mail one, of a gentleman talking about predictions of AI in terms of politics, right? I can't remember the title, but I'll put it in. I'll post it in the threads and share it with you guys. It's a nice carry on to what you're talking about, Dorothy. Go ahead, Mark.
I just wanted to follow up on Dorothy's comment because it is really interesting that historically younger people are more likely to adopt new technologies, and the rejection comes from older generations. But in fact, all the reading I'm doing supports what Dorothy said. I want to point out that while millennials and Gen Zs are more likely to be career threatened than older people, so there's a fear of this taking away the job, I do believe that there are a lot of young people who are rejecting AI because they perceive it accurately as evil empires. You know, they're depending on who you choose to read, and I like to read both sides or all sides of any subject matter. Some of the worst people on the planet are tech bros that are running these companies. Case in point, Sam Altman just had Molotov cocktail and, you know, bullets through his front door in his mansion. Peter Thiel from
Facebook founder and whatnot. Yeah, he's a good writer as well, but crazy.
The things that these people are saying, like they're just Anthropic just released a 22-point manifesto, and it is shockingly transparent and super frightening. So, you know, young people are looking at it like this is the planet that I'm planning on being on for the next 50, 60, 70 years. And they don't have a lot of hope when they see that these are the people who are potentially taking over. You know, it's a tech oligarchy in their opinion. And I do think that if you took a North American audience and you said, fairly affluent people, 50 and older, they're more likely to be invested stockholders in these companies, right? So they're seeing their portfolios increase. There are people I know darn well who are saying, okay, you know, I think my career might be threatened, but in the meantime, I'm going to try and make as much money as I can, you know, by being invested in these platforms. So there's not a right or wrong here to what I'm saying. I just think that it's important when we're talking about AI with younger people that we recognize that they may be coming to it from a very different vantage point than we are. You know, their choice to use it or not use it may not be based on practicality. It may be based on absolute emotion.
Absolutely, and that's the rationale behind a lot of decision making. So, but I think it's a fair perspective for sure. My 18-year-old, Dorothy knows Harper, adamantly against AI from what he's like, and he's a big YouTube watcher and whatever from what he's heard and whatnot. So, and there's probably a lot of what you're talking about, Mark, in there as well. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it's just a comment on the AI side of thing. AI is definitely inevitable in there. So it's really sort of the best lessons for the younger generation. I got 4 kids, is to learn about it, be on side with it, and be able to use it. Even if you're in something that's creative, where it's handcrafted, being able to understand the application of AI, how it might impact your business, is definitely something that we need to be able to teach our kids. But also, I do use AI a lot when I'm posting on LinkedIn. And one of the things I think is most useful is getting it to create a marketing calendar for me. So, I think of a theme. AI is only as good as what you teach it in there, and by and large, it's been in sort of a learning process up until now. With the dawn of agentic AI, and agentic doesn't mean AI agents, it means it's autonomous. That's only just really sort of starting off now. And that's really where the main, I guess, to Mark's point, the main threats are potentially going to come. And it's up to us as a community globally to be able to build the appropriate guardrails around all these things. And that's the biggest challenge, because not everyone's on the same page with that.
That from a story about insurance, and already we're in AI.
Yeah, sorry.
It happens every time. Yeah, it happens every time. Go ahead, Christina.
You know what? I'm going to jump on the AI thing as well. It was just layering off of what Dorothy had said. Oh, sorry. Am I here?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're there.
Okay.
You're there.
That's at Accenture, and this, like, obviously large consulting company, and they are absolutely, there's like 20 different AI tools, and every week they get something sent to them about their % utilization of these tools. And yeah, she feels that people that aren't using them, like, there's a clear mandate that, like, those people will be out. It's not to say every organization's like that, but that's just a case in point that someone just shared yesterday about just the metrics and the monitoring around use of it.
That is definitely, I can attest to that happening in places I've seen. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, no, I guess one thing I would encourage people like that I talk to not to get panicked by the pace of change, like jobs going away. And I remember my very first job at a university, I was selling for Xerox, and I had a territory, and there was this lady running a video store. This is like 1994, 1993. And she wanted to sell the video store because she was worried about streaming, right? And ultimately the Netflix. And it was 15 years later that I think that video stores are really out of, but at the time it was like, these video stores are going to go out of business in a year, and it doesn't happen. I think a little bit of AI, having spent 10 years in professional services, UI and Mercer in different places, there's always been talk about how automation was going to take away the entry level or the frontline position. I think AI is just that next face of automation. And so I'm not being naive. Like, I think this thing has horsepower in a way to fundamentally change some of those businesses, but I still think there's runway for people to adjust and carve out their own swim lane in it before their job is gone in kind of 6 or 12 months. I guess what I'm saying is we should encourage those that are most worried not to panic, but have a plan as to how they're going to embrace it and carve out their own path, right? So.
I just want to grab, I saw your hand there, Mike. I just want to grab Lisa for a second. And so Lisa and I were chatting. I just remembered what I said. I was going to ask you to talk about. This is more of a sector update, but it still has some implications in terms of what happened to you. What's the latest? So Lisa works as Salesforce expert, CRM in particular, and she's always on abreast on, when she's in Toronto, she's down at Salesforce meetings and abreast of the latest things. We were talking about the latest, just to try and trick your memory, because I vaguely remember it, but I remember it was an advancement of, I think it was an agentic part of, not Salesforce already doing agentic stuff, but do you remember the conversation? You're muted there, Lisa, sorry. No.
Yeah, just in regards to that, obviously, like even Salesforce tried to jump on the bandwagon and move at like Mach 60, type of thing. Like even for us as implementation partners, like they had their world tour last year in November, and it was like everything was agent force, and they launched all these features and functionality and such. They didn't even give up any heads up to any of their partners, type of thing. And so then everybody's like, so how much does this cost? And like, none of us were like, we have no idea. Like we still need to set up one ourselves, type of thing. And even talking with a lot of my customers, and that's where I agree 100% with Eric, that there is going to be runway, because obviously Agentforce came out, everybody's got questions around it type of thing, because there's internal agents and then there's customer facing agents, type of thing. And so really understanding from a client's perspective of like, where do they see the biggest impacts in their business and such. Out of all of my clients, I literally have 40 clients that work with us on a monthly basis. Not one of them has proceeded with an agent currently, because everybody has been like, I don't want to be first, type of thing. They're like, let a couple other people go first and work out the kinks. And even Salesforce, like their pricing model in the last 16 months has changed, like it was like $2 a conversations, and now it's 10 cents, flex credits, or there's pay-as-you-go programs, and now they just recently launched where there's a monthly fee that you could be paying, and we have the Salesforce conference in 2 weeks. I'm sure there's going to be a whack again of all of these new releases and such. And then you get on top of like then where people are like trying to figure out budgeting, right? Like, no, I have a company to run, right? And so like, even when I was talking to my clients about it, where it's like, okay, well, it's 10 cents an action, type of thing. How many actions is it going to be? Again, we don't know. Like, we don't know how many conversations it's going to have, and such. And so I was actually at one of the Salesforce's events, downtown. And I even heard an IT manager talking to the host of the meeting, and he's like, guys, like, I can't, like, I got to bring up to the board what this is going to cost. And he's like, and I have no idea. And then on top of it, you don't have just your agent fees, like you have your data consumption fees, because you've got to think about how much information you need to feed it, so there could be some things that is like an internal agent, which is fantastic in regards of like, let's say we've got a large corporation with tons of HR training, documentation, and like, what do I do for my benefits or this or that? Yeah, great. You can upload all your, SOPs and knowledge, for internal training. And then people could just talk to an agent of like, how do I do this? Or do I get paid for overtime, or, type of thing. And they're getting the information very quickly, which is downing all the inquiries, to an HR department and such. But for larger companies, like I was speaking with Yamaha Music, and great use case, type of thing. They have over 15,000 cases that they're doing of everybody calling them in about, how to reset their keyboard or stuff like that. And the guy's like, we want to choke these people, in the sense that it's like, this is all online, it's in their manual, type of thing, but they'll go and, put in the question. He's like, so for us, he goes, we're just envisioning the savings of all of these, ridiculous questions that's all on our websites and manuals. But then again, the question is, how much data is this using, so that's where Salesforce, I find, is just their weakness at the moment, is that companies are nervous because when the margins are seeming to erode in every business, with the inflation of cost, and employees and such. So where people are interested in having more this agent in their business is, again, because employees are expensive. And it's not in regards that they're looking to replace people. I just know that, like, with the owners that I speak with, it's really about preparing themselves for that growth and not needing to potentially hire more people, right? Because with hiring more people comes obviously the training, people come and go type of thing, that it just gives them a little bit more stability, for scalability and that. But again, that's where I said there's going to be runway. And even the other thing I hear from business owners too is there's so many AI tools.
Yeah.
So you're like, do I go with the Salesforce product, or do I go with another product that integrates with Salesforce, type of thing? So there's just so much noise out there. And like one CEO said to me, he was like, I will admit to you, because it was a room of business owners like ourselves, he's like, I'm scared shitless of making the wrong decision, because I'm the person who's got to sign off on it. And so if we spend thousands of dollars and it fails, is on my head, type of thing. So that's where, again, that nervousness of picking the right tool out of, so many options.
Well, you nailed a lot of things that I think in my head that I've seen with other clients. It doesn't forget AI, forget just new tool, period, right? That's good. Mike, was that long enough that you completely forgot where you're gonna go?
Yeah,
it probably was.
Yeah, no, it was just back to the history of all when you look at society as a whole. This is just my story, I guess. You look at sort of Jethro Tull and the seed drill, and you look at the Luddites, and you look at the Industrial Revolution, you look at the introduction of TV, the internet, the cell phone, all these things. Yes, it's changed jobs, and it's really about people learning new skills. And society as a whole, I think, has sort of been uplifted by a lot of these technology changes. Eventually, sometimes it takes time, but the speed of which things are changing now with AI, it's only going to get even faster. And when we hand back to the guardrails, when we hand some of the control over to the agentic AI side of things, that's really going to start changing things dramatically. Medicine, health sciences, all these sort of things, the potential there is just phenomenal in there. And I think that's going to create a lot of new jobs. There's going to be a lot of new businesses start up where, it wasn't possible to do things without the use of AI before.
I had the pleasure of getting to meet the CEO of NVIDIA, and name escapes me. You guys will know who that is. When I did my MBA at McMaster, we do a residency at Stanford, right? So we go down to Stanford, we meet all the professors, and then we go from business to business. So we went to Google, Apple, et cetera, right? And we went to NVIDIA. And he just happened to be in the business building, and he just happened to, okay, yeah, I'll come talk to these MBA students, no problem. So Wong, what's his last? Oh man, somebody help me out there with the name. Oh, this is going to be embarrassing because it's recorded. Anyhow, this was 2019, okay, and they were already. You just got me thinking about the medication. They were already demonstrating how their microchip power. So what they would do to demonstrate, because how do you demonstrate it's a tangible project, but it's really what it does is intangible. How do you demonstrate the power of a CPU? They show you what you can do with it. So they had somebody from their healthcare side of the business show how you could heighten what you see in an X-ray using AI to build in sort of the empty areas, like to color code it instead of being black and white. So they were already way back then, way ahead of the curve in terms of what you could do, what was coming. And I think Lisa was hinting on that. Like, there's this thing of where what can happen gets us super excited, and what actually is being delivered, where it challenges. Because I was thinking, Lisa, remember when cell phones came out? My dad got some I used to work for him back then, got some for the office, and it was like every minute was it was an exorbitant amount of money a minute. So you would have, okay, Lisa, I'm on my way, come on. my dad still uses his cell phone like that. That's probably part of the challenge. He's driving somewhere, he never turns it on, because God forbid he turns it on, the cash register starts clinging away. So the way they price these things, and I was thinking too, the pricing model, Salesforce had a pricing model a per user, and they still do for a lot of things, per user, per time, whatever, right? And then HubSpot came out with a brand new pricing model for the marketing automation. It was a per contact thing, which was fairly new at the time, and just really kind of swept a lot of the audience along because it felt like more fair, even though they're making a ton of money at it. So we're going to see all these different type of pricing models and experimentations come together until there's uptake, right? So there's always that bell. We think of the bell curve when those at the front, the early adopters, those that come right before that, and then the slow adopters behind. And that's why those that group in the pack is why, even though something is going out of style, out of sync, that you keep throwing money, because there's just so much of that latency from those groups that are slowly behind, that are using it in a different manner. That's why those type of investments often work out. It's like, oh, okay, I know. And I say people have been talking about software is going to go out of business. I know that may happen one time, But for the meantime, as everybody moves out of that market, it's a time to move into the market because it's going to be around. It's going to be a stepping stone to what's happening in the future. So there's that type of investment model. Like we talked about cash cows and business school and stuff like that, things like that. Anyhow, that's super exciting. Angela, you've been doing a lot of posting online. What do you, so when you promote, I always see you and I was like, oh wow, she's got things put together. What's new in your world? What's new? It's been a while since I've talked to you, so I'm just to put the highlight in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of AI fatigue. So like when you're talking about when you're posting things about your dad, and I think people resonate with that right now because there is so many posts where you're like, is this even real? And you kind of question a lot of things. And so that, being genuine, I think is what people are sort of gravitating to. I mean, one of my best posts in the last couple of months was when I just shared that I'm mentoring a younger girl and she's looking for work, and hey, she's awesome if anybody needs anything. And, that got, I don't even know, like a few thousand views on that just after a couple of days. So, yeah, I would say, it's just, I use AI every day. But it's really about making sure you're not so tied to it that you're, losing yourself in it. And I mean, I feel like the younger generation, there's, the teams I work with the different companies I work with, I find, sometimes they're so reliant on it, they're not even going back to check if it's accurate. I've even seen articles where it literally, they've left that prompt at the bottom of it. Would you like me to rewrite this in a more professional tone? So, even an article, I'm editing a magazine for a nonprofit right now, and there was even an article that it had so many M dashes in it, it was like almost impossible to read it. And you just kind of know that it's AI. So, yeah, I just, like I said, I just feel like there's a bit of that fatigue. And if people are just posting to post, it's just gets sort of washed away. But even I'm getting frustrated, you go through and you're like, is this even real? And my algorithm in Instagram is just so bad. And I've been trying to use like a lot of AI tools in regards to posting. But one thing I've noticed, and I tried downloading a bunch of apps just to see how they work and if they're actually like good cheats. But one thing I did learn is if you go into the app store, before you download it, actually look at the reviews. Because there's so many that are like black hat tactics and ones that you can tell it's just look at the reviews, and the reviews are terrible on so many of them. And I made the mistake of not checking that first and just like going in and, hey, let's just see, educating myself, trying to like just try different ones to see if it was a bit of a cheat or, yeah, I kind of go back to Canva every time. So, yeah, anyways, that I don't know what everybody else is.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
There's so many of these like content, like AI generators out there right now. And even just looking at the reviews, you're like, oh, total scam. And they're really, I mean, they obviously spend hours making all of these cool posts that look like they were, just prompted but it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, 100%. And the reviews, it's funny how we as humans can spot authentic reviews too, right? I'm a big online buyer. My wife likes to do the malls, and I like going with her to the malls. She's much better at shopping in the malls than I am. But I prefer to like shop online, just so much stuff right away. And I totally read the reviews. I am totally like all over. I read the bad, the good, and you kind of justify them in between. I think it really, I think all that stuff is going to come to the forefront. It's like, what's the human aspect of that, right? So I talked about this last time. Pandemic hits, retail stores are shut down. What happens to all those people, the retail? When I go to the store, my wife is always, she'll ask me try something on, what do you think? And I'm gonna, I don't know, it looks great, but she'll always ask the girls in the store, and we'll sit and have long conversations with them, right? So she now follows influencers, and I've said this before, so apologize if I'm repeating myself. She follows influencers. One of them was from, I believe she was a retailer at Aritzia. She's now becoming basically doing what she did at Aritzia, trying stuff on, explaining why she likes it, explaining the cost point of it, showing online. Now she says her career has just gone skyrocket. She's got 2 homes. She's like constantly being invited to these places. And my wife's watching a number of them all the time to kind of take that same sort of experience that you had in the mall and bring it more accessible to you. So I think that human element, we're just going to see where it goes. We can't really depict where it's going to go, but I think that transparent, the real person thing is not going to go away. I don't know. You guys go. Kim, is that a hands up? No, you just agree. Okay. What else is? What? Go ahead, Lisa.
I think I just want to share a couple like wins like on our side, type of thing. Because even when I was talking to my team, I used a little bit of the example that you did, Mike, where I was like, you guys think about like the horse and buggy. If you ask those people, is the horse ever going to go away? Everyone have been like, no, like how in the world are we going to get around? And I'm like, then the car, type of thing. So to kind of use that analogy of like, we have to keep on, the AI. And like one of my employees, he built something in Salesforce that like blew my mind, a really cool custom quoting thing. And I was like, how long did this take you? Type of thing. And he was like, about 4 hours. And I was like, and he said, but I will tell you, he's like, this is like 35,000 lines of code. And he's like, if I had to do this prior to, chat, because he used ChatGPT type of thing. He now says he uses Claude on everything because it's even better. But he said, like, that's where that would have been a 3-week project. So that's where I share people of like, when it is used, then the benefits is like, you think about a customer now that's paying, they're paying for 4 hours versus, a 3-week project type of thing. So benefits on that side. And then where I've had pain points, like I hired a cold caller, and my goodness, like between like, the salary of the cold caller, the software, for them to making the outbound calls, and then me having to listen to the calls to continuously coach her, type of thing. And I kept asking, like, because I just felt like she was saying the same thing, like, even though like there was no objective handling, like, I'm like, okay, you're hearing the same type of thing. Like, are you trying anything? Like, are you throwing anything at ChatGPT, or like, do I have to tell you every, and so I was like, it ended up being way too painful. So she didn't pass her 90 days, type of thing. But then I interviewed this other AI tool that does the outbound calling. And that's where I was like, that is where there are going to be some of the job losses for like some of these really junior, kind of positions, because I'm like, that was a very painful 90 days. And I'm like, whereas then you can get a tool like this that was $500 a month, so way less than her monthly salary. And the same thing, like you train it on everything. You train it on your website, you train it on all your knowledge articles and such. And every single conversation, it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter type of thing. So
you reminded me of a post from a buddy of mine. I used to, when I was working at Jen Kelly Marketing, I was the director of digital strategy, but everything was outsourced in terms of software. And he was one of the software developers, really smart guy. And he made a comment that because AI has sped up coding so much, it's enabled him to get back into custom coding. And I'm like, it's a weird stretch. It's because custom coding was so expensive. There's the fears of you're going away from, what happens when you update the software, what happens with all the integrations, what breaks, what doesn't break. So you couldn't do any of that. But now it's sped it up so much that it's now making it more affordable. And he says it's like, it's making software fun again. So it's interesting to see where we're going to go from all of this, and where we'll land at the end. But nobody knows, right? I mean, I can't even tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Let alone the future. But I think we're all going to experience it differently. I think we're all going to see value. I think, Kim, like you even came back to the market. You had a fear that AI took you out of the market, but then you came back with the realization they needed more people, more human touch points in it. So I think that's going to happen too. We got 5 minutes left. Does anybody have did you have a point, Mike? You look like you're about to say something.
Well, just what in terms of terminology, vibe coding is the new buzzword, right?
Yes, yes.
About developing vibe coding.
Yes. That's what. So that said too, like I've been teaching myself. You know, I have this habit. I tell you guys about the 1% rule. I'm forcing myself to do 1 hour of learning every weekend, which gets harder as the weather gets better and there's stuff to do outside. But I'm doing it. So I'm going through Claude, and one thing, and you guys would know this already, it keeps pushing the fact that we're going to write this, but you can edit it. And like, well, in order to edit something, you really have to know the fundamentals of how it works. Like you can't just take, oh, well, here's a bunch of code, I'm going to go edit it. I've never seen code before, right? So there's going to be that expert. It's a different approach. It's a different way you're going to use things because you're an expert. You have that expertise behind you. So I think that's not going to go away anywhere. And then there's just like,
yeah, I was just, if I could throw one thing on that, that's exactly what, this gentleman that built this, he basically said, this is going to create a brand new role of jobs of prompt engineering type of thing, because he goes, I understand code, so I know what to prompt it with. And he's like, and then you have an eye of catching. And so this is where I think, like we were talking about, new set of jobs out there. There's going to be experts in writing and experts in marketing and experts in graphics that, yes, the AI tool is just your assistant. You need still that human to prompt it to get the best results out of it.
Absolutely. I told you guys about I still keep in touch with the MBA class that I do. We can join any online class for free, and they're one of the new projects they're doing. I think I said this last time. So you have 5 people in like MBA is all group work, right? So you have 5 members in the group. I'm giving you a 6th member. It's AI. You have to write a paper on how you're going to assign and use AI as part of your group member and how that's going to work within the rest of the group. So it was a really interesting experience. I haven't seen what the tail end of that is, what they learned from it. So it's going places. So another thought, and it just sort of dropped right out my brain. Last thoughts, guys. Anything to wrap up? Anything burning that you wanted to share? Something update or anything like that?
Just we're new to this, Paul and myself. We're happy to connect with anyone. Please reach out to us. We're all on LinkedIn. We'd love to continue conversations one-on-one as well.
Absolutely, Mike. Join the app as well, and you got access to all the guys. But not that I'm making a money pitch there, but yeah, absolutely, 100%. Jody, last thing.
I have 2 upcoming workshops coming up because everybody's prepared for growth and scaling and expansion and all that fun stuff. But what happens if you're not able to actually run your business? And I deal with the hidden risk most business owners ignore. So I have 2 workshops coming up: why every entrepreneur needs a will, and what happens to your business if you suddenly can't run it. And they're coming up at the beginning of May. So I'll drop the information in the app, and I hope that you guys can join me. Thank you.
I love these workshops. Jody always hits, like while I was reading through your post, Jody, always hit on the main things, really attuned to what somebody's going to be struggling with, putting it out there nice and transparently. And how the workshops that you played around with the time, did any news on that? I did.
So I've tried doing actual daytime ones instead of evening ones. And then my 4-week session that's coming up as well that I'll share the information for, I changed the date for Fridays around noon. And even if the day and time doesn't work for the 4-week sessions, they're recorded. So you can catch up, you're not behind, everything works out anyways. Again, my role here is just to get you started planning. It's not to make you overwhelmed, or it's not all doom and gloom. It's to help you plan. You've built something beautiful and wonderful, and we need to protect that business in case of life's unexpected events that do definitely pop up.
Excellent. You got me thinking there. Last 30 seconds here. Something to think about towards 2027 is all this knowledge, all these conversations we're having. I record them, I put them online. People have access to them. Think about is teaching expertise going to be the next wave of our, next way of getting new clients, next way of maybe getting a little bit of subsidy of your current model of income? There's a thought, like, what if you had a group that shared all their teachings, as there might be a public version of it to draw as another way of drawing attention to you. So I was thinking about the other day, I'm going to explore that a little bit more, my thought. I want to put that as a seed in your thoughts and see if you guys have thought about any of that. If you have some ideas, we can share the costs of doing that if you're thinking about doing that. So anyhow, you guys, we're getting into May. Apparently there's some flowers. I've seen some flowers floating around in my drowning in my garden, but they're there. So I think better things are on their way. I know Angela's laughing because she's already had flowers since friggin' probably December or January. Who knows, man? Who knows? All right, guys. Great talking to you. Talk to you soon. See you next month.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everyone.